I'm back with some more bullshit. Like, share, and subscribe. The family unit is transphobic and must be abolished, says transgender activist. Published February 13th, 2021. UK. Joanne Gleason, a transgender identifying historian who focuses on ancient eunuchs for JSTOR Daily, writer at New Socialist and co-author of the soon-to-be-released book Trans-Marxism, is fighting to abolish families. The activist insists the family unit is a tool of transphobes to decrease the number of out trans people, and the family can be replaced with unchecked queer bonds. This is like Glitter Family 2.0. Glitter Family weaponized. Gleason, who like many vocal transgender activists advocates abolition of prisons, argues in essay this infamous proposal that the same abolitionist spirit must be brought to the conversation on families. For queers of whatever given flavor, families appear far more often as a primary antagonist, Gleason wrote. Tales of rejection, threats of abandonment are so commonplace that they have lost their power to leave us truly shaken. Lovers have to be concealed, lingo rapidly switched up, awkward encounters avoided or allowed to drag out.
I don't know, is that statement supposed to inspire sympathy? Like, that's what it's been like for women our whole lives. Get over it.
Gleason once tweeted that the main reason people detransition is to stay in contact with their family, citing no sources for the claim. Of course! The activist argues that not even queer families can mitigate harm enough to justify continued existence of private households and families. Families' role in ensuring capitalist workforces are produced generation after generation, in truth, never detaches from the disciplinary struggles to snuff out queer development, the essay laments. Intuitively, we long for an end to the procession of privatized torment and ineffectual displays of disciplinary force that make one baby queen's plight seem almost interchangeable with the next.
I'm sorry, one baby queen's plight. This is supposed to be an intellectual article. This is supposed to be someone who is cerebral and logical and rational in their thinking. And they use terminology like baby queen in their professional documentation or dissertation or presentation. What?
To strengthen the call for family abolition, the essay describes family units as patriarchal relations and points out that the family results in most queers being raised by heterosexuals. Like there's something wrong with heterosexuals. On Twitter, the activist added, family configuration is shaped by white supremacy, capitalism, and systemic racism. There's that noble savage trope that they love to use so much again. I don't know if this enrages you, but this enrages me. Where does this man get off parroting such a sick reversal? To suggest that mothers engaging in mothering and the experience of motherhood is shaped by white supremacy, capitalism, and systemic racism. Bruh, half of the world is female, and probably half of those females are mothers. What are you talking about? He's making it seem like before the patriarchy really took hold, mothers just birthed their children and let them fall by the wayside and fend for themselves like it's the survival of the fittest. Doesn't it sound like he's saying that outside the confines of the patriarchy, women would let their children be raped by pedophiles? Doesn't that sound like that's what he's saying? We have argued for replacing the current convention of upbringings being divvied up between private households with structuring processes of direct provision, offering key elements of upbringings, from meeting nutritional needs to literacy, in a systemic and contextually overarching fashion. Gleason calls for the family to be replaced with unchecked queer relations.
There's a TikTok audio that was made in response to something fucked up that men do to women. And it goes, all I can think of is misogyny. Misogyny. And I'm reading this article and I'm feeling this audio like heavily, like in my soul. This man hates women and mothers so much. The most fucked up part about this man's reasons for hating women is because they provide safeguarding through the family unit as mothers for children against pedophiles like him. That's what his piece is trying to say. Incredible. He's advocating for the removal of mothers' parental rights. And he's like commodifying our children as a product that can be programmed and scheduled like robots. Like, he must have read Brave New World one too many fucking times. To abolish the family means allowing the relations which already blossom between us to become unchecked. Already we offer each other prolonged bouts of joy, rarefied skills, and kinds of support that we're uniquely placed to share. We don't do this in order to create sturdy forms that will outlast generations, but exactly to enjoy moments of community with our fellow exiles. My guy, what? Our kids are not fucking exiles. And like, I don't know, is it just me, or does that blurb not read out like a PC fantasy RPG fucking mission? Like, this is a fucking game and not reality. Gleason is not the only transgender activist to suggest the trans community can serve as substitute for transphobic families. In a video created on Mother's Day, Canadian competitive cyclist and transgender activist Veronica Ivy, Reese McKinnon, he's a jerk, who is male and identifies as a woman, and has also been known as Rachel McKinnon, advised trans kids to swap unsupportive parents for a glitter family. Here's a few tweets from the article. This is what they were tweeting when he was booked. All right, let's see if a movie 9-year-old me thought was hilarious still holds up. Hot Shots is on Hulu. Why is this important to the larger debate? Well, like Jeffrey Marsh, Dr. Rachel, Veronica, Reese McKinnon, Ivy, has made videos telling vulnerable trans kids to reach out specifically to them. Jeff says, I'll be your NB mom. Dr. Ivy says this in a Mother's Day sermon.
A word to the kids, the trans kids, whose parents maybe don't support them as much as we would hope. Unfortunately, this is too common. I want to give you some hope, though. I want you to know that it's okay to walk away from unsupportive or disrespectful or even abusive parents. And I want to give you hope that you can find what we call your glitter family, your queer family. We are out there, and the relationships that we make in our glitter families are just as real, just as meaningful as our blood families. Also, you can reach out to me. You can email me. You can call me. We can Skype.
Creepy!
I'm happy to talk if you need someone to talk to.
The video sparked public concern, which only intensified this January when Ivy's live-in life partner, Danny Sean Doherty, was arrested on charges of solicitation of a minor and attempted disseminating material to a person under the age of 18. While family abolition is not a new or rare stance amongst socialists and communists, some members of the public express worry about the move by certain transgender activists to break up families, particularly as it is wed to a fight to abolish the prison system, which many in the trans community decry as a transphobic institution. A woman wondered whether breakdown of social structures makes children and teens who feel misunderstood and socially isolated more vulnerable to absorbing the gender identity community's messaging and starting on the pathway to unnecessary medical intervention. I've heard in general that the kids say they don't feel like they fit in and that they have no friends apart from in the online groups they find, and then get asked other questions about their sexuality and personality, which then leads to the "you must be trans" announcement, which the by then feeling understood kid accepts because these people get them. Would anyone know if they break down teens and young people's identities, family, community, religion, school, sport, etc., before love bombing them like cults do? Another tweet from the article reads, "What I always tell myself when weighing up this kind of ambient advice is, remember, society doesn't want you to be trans. People pouring cold water on the idea of hormones don't want you to be trans. Twisted and inconsistent anti-surgery framing don't want you to be trans." They were quote tweeting. Something I hear a lot from trans health professionals and other trans people is that if you're seeking surgery, you should be sure that you're doing it for yourself and not because of other people's perceptions of you. And the longer I've been trans, the more nonsensical and meaningless that sounds. Yeah, because it's all for external validation. In 2018, transgender activists in the U.S. began lobbying the government to seize minors from the homes of parents who refused their gender dysphoric children's demands for medical intervention. The first child seized was a 17-year-old in Ohio whose parents refused to call her by the masculine name she chose or start her on cross-sex hormones. Another tweet, "I'm not threatening anything. It's a friendly word of warning. Trans kids are thankfully already being removed from the parents' custody for medical neglect." This person was obviously using this as a threat to a parent who refuses to be indoctrinated by gender ideology extremism. The title of the article linked in the tweet is "Judge Gives Grandparents Custody of Ohio Transgender Teen." A Hamilton County, Ohio judge on Friday gave custody of a transgender teen to his grandparents rather than his parents. Similarly, authorities in Australia seized a teen from her parents' home in 2019 after they refused to allow her to take testosterone.